Alright, so this video is for Ceramics 2. I'm going to move my big sculpture over. And you guys are going to be surprised because I pretty much transformed it last class period during the other section of ceramics that I teach. I made some pretty drastic decisions. And if you wanna watch that video, it's already posted. You can go see what I did and how I did it. But remember how I didn't like the symmetry and that it looked like a jester, and that I really wanted, I'll show you my drawing again, I really wanted those raven beaks to go up on one side and down on the other. Well, I decided to make a drastic change, and I actually cut one of the beaks off that was going down, and I flipped it over and I reattached it so it's going up now. So that is sort of my drastic change. What else did I do? Well, a lot of fun things happened after I did that. Because I did that, I now have, this is part of the base here, this curve and this point was actually down here, and now I have this new little detail on my piece. So I thought really like that point, but it needs to be balanced out on the other side with something. So I put sort of a decorative kind of pointy beak right here. I added a couple more bee butts here to the top, and then I added this other like little curly Q beak to the top. This is sort of my lid. I have not cut into the figure yet to pull the lid off. This is the handle to my lid, and the lid is going to sit inside the body of the vessel. So let's see if I can maybe hold it up, and so you can kind of see sort of the silhouette of it. So you can see how much it's changed over the course of the last class. So what am I going to do today? Today I'm going to continue to add sculptural elements to the outside, and I'm going to carve on it, and I'm going to get it kind of to a finished wet state. And then the next class period I'm going to cut the lid out, put a flange on it, and then start doing textural carving kind of details. So we are also rounding the bend on this sculpture as well. That's why I want your piece to be put together. It should really be built by this point, fully. So by the end of this weekend, have your piece fully constructed. So all the wet elements are added and it's starting to dry a bit so that you can cut your lid out and do carving details. You can also, continue to add little things while it's leather hard, but you can't really add big structural things while it's leather hard. So I have to make some creative decisions and choices now. I have to decide if I'm done adding things. So I'm just going to take some of these pieces, these extra slabs, and I'm going to mess around with them a little bit. Really looking at the entire composition of my sculpture. And I keep calling it a sculpture, even though it's a vessel, because it's kind of both. Probably will not be putting things in here, maybe cookies, but it's pretty sculptural. Sort of kind of dances between function and non-function. All right, I love that. I'm going to go ahead and kind of curve this slab. This is getting, it's still bendable, but it's pretty dry still. I mean, it's pretty dry at this point. So I have to attach it soon or I'm not going to be able to use it. It's just kind of going to lose its life. All right. And I might give it a little bit of a gesture. So we're going to torque it this way and make it look a little bit more light. Whenever you torque something and make it look like it's got a gesture or a life to it, you're sort of making it seem lighter, like a lighter material. When you have something like this versus something like this looks like it could be made out of metal after you glaze it, because it's so stiff and unyielding and doesn't have a lot of gesture to it. When you bend it and give it a curve like this, all of a sudden it looks like a ribbon that's blowing in the wind. It makes it much lighter. All right, I'm going to go in and add this piece. Now these are just reminding me of bird beaks or bird wings. My piece is definitely bird themed, bird and bee themed, so flight, wings and buzzing and flying. It has that kind of whimsy to it. So I'm going to just stick that on there, and I'm going to do some light compression. I don't want to collapse my piece, so I have to be careful. It's getting more delicate as it's drying. Now at this stage I also want to start thinking about surface textures. How do I want it? What surfaces am I trying to mimic? I want to take it out of the clay realm. What are some of the surfaces I'm dealing with here? Feathers, bee fuzz, you know, like the fuzziness of a bee, the delicate wings of a bee, that papery sort of wing, veins in the wing. Bird beaks are kind of shiny and smooth. Bird eyes, I want to carve and add some eyes and some bird details here to the ravens especially. So maybe as I'm smoothing and carving and the clay is pretty wet still, I might want to start thinking about texturizing things. It's a lot easier to texturize at the leather hard state than it is to texturize after it's dried a bit and you have to do a lot of carving. So this is sort of a wing that's kind of like merging into a bee. So I might make this part fuzzy. And this part kind of feathery. Or maybe these are bee wings. You know, they don't have to, they're on top of the bees, so that makes sense that maybe there's some veins in there. This is getting really delicate here. So that's why I'm kind of holding it and supporting it as I'm carving it to it. I don't want to break it. I'm really carving in deep though. I kind of want to get rid of that edge and make it look more like a delicate material. So as you add your final pieces, you want to start texturizing things. And then how transitions, think about transitions. I've got this wing here and it's transitioning into the body of the bee. What happens in that transition? Texture-wise, do we still have a crease? Does it look like that wing is kind of attached like that? Do I dig into to the edge of this bee shape and make it look like the wing is a separate form? I think so. I think I just decided I was going to do that. So now all of a sudden I have this separate form. Look at that. I'm going to show you up close. So I've carved, now it just looks like it's kind of sitting on top. Isn't that nice? To separate those two forms. Now I can put a different texture on the bee, but I definitely need to go in and texturize these before they get too dry. Now remember, if you have delicate pieces like handles to your lid and pieces that are like Christina's horns, stuff like that, those are going to dry faster. So you have to really babysit them so that they don't break off or get too brittle. And just remember too that you are transporting these pieces to campus yourself. So there's so much potential there for breaking off delicate pieces. So I wouldn't go too crazy with the delicate pieces because I don't want to have any disastrous breakages. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to this side here. I'm cutting into this side. I might even like start carving out. I'm going to show you here. So I'm just doing some carving in the handle here, getting the texture in these delicate pieces done now so that they don't totally dry out. Now if you were in the studio, you could add wax resist to the tips of these so that they dry slower, but we're not, so you just have to keep them. It's hard, you got to keep them hydrated, but if you put too much water on them, they're just gonna collapse off your piece. So okay, so I'm not gonna do any more texture detail on that. I just wanted to get it to some stage there. I'm not sure I like this weird thing coming off the side. I'm gonna take that off. So again, there's a luxury to working in a leather hard stage, is that you can cut things off that you don't like. You can edit. And I'm not going to destroy this right away because maybe I put it somewhere else. Yeah, I like it better without that. Maybe I can put it right here. I think it works better. Oh, there it is. That's where it goes. See? I just look how easy that was to take it off of something and add it to something else. I'm going to add this here. And then I'm going to have to end this demo soon because we're going to have checkout. Class ends in about 8 minutes. I'm just going to attach this piece here. So just a reminder that by the end of the weekend you want your piece to be fully constructed with all its wet parts attached. And then next week we're going to cut the lid off and start details. Just FYI too, I'm always posting these videos after class. So by the end of the day it'll be uploaded in today's lesson. And I also post photos so you can see better, you know, details and angles and things. Oh, that looks like a bird. So exciting. This just looks like a bird beak now because I attached it to the head of something. So instead of a bee, I want to show you this. Instead of a bee, all of a sudden I have a bird head and a beak. Now those are the magic moments I'm talking about with ceramics. It's like just making a creative decision to take something off of one area and put it somewhere else, and all of a sudden you have a completely different form and theme. So, all right, I am gonna stop this video and we're gonna do our checkout.